Now, getting back to Greg Kading, right? I don't believe nothing Greg Kading say, right? For one, to me, he's a dirty cop. Like the way he goes about getting confessions. Like, let's just go with the first one, right? Um, First of all, let me ask you this question: do you know was Reggie the suspect and the notorious Big or Christopher Wallace murder? Was he a suspect in it? And did Greg Kading go to Reggie and Reggie feed him these theories about Southside killed Biggie and retaliation of Tupac? And then he turned around and said, "Oh no, well, it was Poochie." Like, isn't this all being fed from Reggie allegedly?
Well, it's obvious. Here's what I'll say. It's obvious, and obviously I don't know in terms of a timeline, right? But it is obvious that when Phil starts this investigation and he starts to look into all of this stuff, that Reggie is in the middle of it, you know? And what also I think happened is close to what you're saying, right? Is Greg Kading, when he is doing what he's quote unquote supposed to be doing, which is investigating the murder of Biggie, what he really was doing was he was a pawn by the bosses at the LAPD to control the narrative, to completely control the narrative, because
lawsuit, right?
prior to doing the Biggie case, Kading had a few cases, specifically a case by a guy by the name of Ramos, who was this big narcotics trafficker in South Central. And Kading fucked that case up so bad that the district attorney wanted nothing to do with him. He basically, from what I've been told, was kind of like, when cops get a reputation or a record where they won't be allowed to testify in court because they've lied, or they've lied in reports, or they've done stupid shit in investigations. Kading got to that level. Okay. So I was having a conversation today that what I think he realized was that his time at the LAPD was basically, he was out the door. Okay. And secondarily to that, he was kind of this pawn that was being used by the LAPD. And he said, you know what? I'm going to write a book. I'm going to make money from being the guy who was sort of put onto this for God knows what reason. I don't know. And
to make the lawsuit disappear.
Yeah. He started operating as if you were going to write a book. And what's important about this is this Keefe D proffer, which is like completely from what, in preparing to come on tonight, I talked to a few people about this because I want to be clear. The Tupac stuff, I'm just starting, or I have obviously a lot of knowledge because they're, somehow intertwined, but I don't have half of the knowledge, that I do in the Biggie stuff, that I do in the Pac stuff. But I have, a podcast that will come out season 3 about Tupac. That's called Tupac versus Compton. That will go into a bigger story about Compton and the murder of Pac. Well, some of this stuff will come in. But Greg Kading does a proffer with Keefe D. Okay. Now, this proffer that he does with the FBI. Okay, as a part of a drug case. It has nothing to do with Tupac. It has nothing to do with the Tupac case at all. And second to that, Greg Kading is not, as an LAPD detective, is not supposed to be investigating the murder of Tupac. Remember, his job is to fucking investigate the murder of Biggie.
Right.
So he brings Keefe D in on a third case here, and I'm sorry if this is getting confusing because it's fucking moronic. And he gets Keefe D to proffer on this thing, and all of a sudden Keefe D starts telling this story about fucking Tupac and the night Tupac is killed. Well, guess what?
Wait, not necessarily. Now, hold on. Now, I know a little bit more about this case, right?
Fine.
So, Greg Kading just like Teresa Swan, his tactic is to catch you dirty to get you to talk, right?
Yeah.
So he ran up on her. She did some fraud or whatever, this, that, and other. And then he writes a statement saying Poochie wrote this statement confessing to killing Biggie, right? And he shows it to her. Now he knows this is complete bullshit because he wrote it. And she goes, oh, yeah, that's what Poochie said. Yeah, everything Poochie says is the truth. Right there, you should have known she's full of shit because you made it up. He took that as a confession and told the world, oh, Poochie killed Biggie. Oh, because Teresa Swan confessed to the statement that, nigga, that statement is fucking fake, bro. You made it up. So what did she confess to that never happened? Because Poochie never wrote and never confessed to it. That came from Reggie. Reggie told him, oh, Teresa Swan was going to see Suge on lawyer visits. Suge could have been getting some pussy. Excuse my French, pardon my French. He could have used that opportunity to have sex, right? Not necessarily draw up a plan to kill Biggie like he knew Biggie was going to be in town and knew where Biggie's and he's in jail, right? So I don't believe that. But once again, and my theory is Reggie and whoever allegedly took it upon themselves to kill Biggie for whatever. Now, I don't know if you know, there's interviews where Big is dissing Pac, where he's rapping at the radio station. He's doing, I think, Long Kiss Goodnight, which is a diss to Pac, right? So outside of him running around LA is already disrespectful to maybe those people on the death row side, right? But then again, they could be smart and just want to use it as retaliation. Second, right? Which you may never seen. I don't know if you ever seen, you was watching back then, but on Rap City, when you see Biggie sitting in the park with Joe Claire, that was Biggie's last interview, and it aired that Saturday. During the day, it aired, right? Joe Claire asks Biggie in that interview. So, Tupac saying that, he has sex with Faith. And Big replies, if he did, he won't no more. I'm like, no, Big, no. You can't say that in Cali. That night, his ass was dead. That show, now BET, they cut that shit out. When he got killed that night, they never aired it again. But I think that was also fuel on the fire to make whoever wanted to kill Big that night really like, yo, we gonna get this motherfucker. This is like, he already up at the radio station. He already running around LA. Now this motherfucker shows with no remorse and says, yeah, well, Tupac fuck Faith, he won't no more. Like that nigga's dead. And the way he said it was so cold, I know that pissed him off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. In my opinion, right? So what I see is that Biggie may have happened because they was pissed off that he was running around like that, or it may have been a hit, right? Because here's the other side of it. I don't know if Puffy was ever a suspect, but they was beefing at the time, Big and Puff. Big Dick was on his Life After Death was his last album, his obligation. He already went and did a deal with Junior Mafia and didn't do the deal with Bad Boy or Arista. Allegedly, Clive Davis was mad at Puff for letting Big go somewhere else and do a deal. Then there's the argument that Gene Deal witnessed between Puff and Big that day, where now all of a sudden Puff doesn't take Gene with him. He leaves him with Big, and he takes D-Rock with him. Now, there's alleged Reggie says that Puff was trying to hire him while he was out there. I talked to Gene about that. He said it was Paul. Paul did hire one of the Death Row or the guys that was doing security from Death Row, but he was from Long Beach originally, an off-duty cop that was in the circle of the bad boy during that time. Now, Big and Puff had an argument because Big lied to Puff about Little Kim writing her own music, and he done a publishing deal with him. So Big was cutting Puff out of a lot of money by writing for Kim and seizing on them and telling them that they was writing their own stuff. And Gene exposed that to him. So that day, he's like, yo, tell me you did it. If you hear Gene talk, they was arguing, then Puff leaves. Then you got that was the last time I think they was around each other, and it was bad blood. But nobody really looks at it that as maybe a possible theory. And then, Puff seeing the money that was made off the death of Pac. And then it's like, okay, why the fuck are y'all in LA? Everybody in the world know this is a fucking bad idea, but Puffy. And then you lead them to a party. Keefy D and them approach you at the party like, yo, we here, what's up? And you tell Keefy D and them, nah, yo, the feds is on us. We don't need no protection. Yo, here, take these 3 bottles and y'all go over there. Yo, don't come around us. Why all the time you in LA or California, you using these niggas for protection? Now tonight, you already comfortable. You running around the party, this, that, and other. You ain't scared. Mac and Perez is in the party. Like, people were seeing them. They said they was there. I'm gonna ask you about that later, right? And then y'all leave. All of a sudden, you don't ride with the star. You're not in the car with Big. Y'all in separate cars. And then Big gets killed. And then Puff goes on to be the super mega star, right? That's just one of my theories. I'm not saying Puff did it. I'm just saying to everybody in the world, why the fuck was y'all in LA at that time with that climate? And then Big going on the radio, this, that, and the third. I don't know. But
well, it is interesting. I've been seeing as of late, and I find this interesting, is it seems people are saying certain things. I think 50 just said something. I saw something else, about what you're speaking about. So it seems like, the stuff you're talking about is very interesting, right? And it, with this arrest, it seems like people are almost more comfortable talking about maybe things for some reason they didn't want to talk about before.